Welcome to Jazz Time. Jazz Time is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it, click the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Rolex GMT-Master II, reference 126713GRNR, yellow golden steel with a ceramic bezel. I'm going to talk to you about the bezel, dial, case, bracelet, movement, try it on, and give you my thoughts, so let's start. This is the GMT-Master II. It's one of Rolex's most popular, most famous, and best sports line. Rolex does make many different kinds of sports lines. They make the Daytona, Submariner, GMT, Yachtmaster, Deep Sea, so on and so forth, so many different kinds. The GMT is right up there with their top sports watches that Rolex makes. They do make the GMT-Master II in several different configurations. They make it in all stainless steel and yellow gold, which is what you see here. They make it in rose gold and steel, all rose gold, all yellow gold, so they have different variations. And each material has a variation that is not repeated in a different material. So, for example, if you want a yellow gold and steel, it only comes on a Jubilee. If you want a rose gold and steel, it only comes on an Oyster. For example, you can't get a rose gold and steel on a Jubilee. So it's actually very wise of Rolex to ensure that each material is distinct by having its own configuration. That configuration is not repeated on any other metal. Again, if you want to get a rose gold, it has to be on an Oyster. If you want that yellow gold, it has to be on a Jubilee. But for stainless steel, oddly enough, they let you get any which way you like. At any rate, the GMT has a very long history. It's originally designed to be a pilot's watch, and that reason it's a pilot's watch is it allows you to tell 2 time zones. And why might that be important is, for example, if you're a pilot or you're traveling a lot, then you have a local time, which is wherever you're at. Like, for example, if you're in Los Angeles and you would have the time with the big hands, the hour and the minute hand would be the regular hands that you see. But then let's say you're flying to Asia and you want to know what time it is over there. You have a 24-hour hand, and that is the long gold hand that goes around once every 24 hours as opposed to twice every 24 hours like the other hour hand. And that allows you to tell the time in 2 time zones. Now let's talk about the case. The case is a 40mm case. The GMT-Master II, there used to be a GMT-Master I. It's almost the same thing, but anyways, the GMT-Master II. It's always been 40mm, so 40mm. Some people have asked for larger ones, but it looks good as it is. If you ask me, a 40mm watch, I don't prefer it in a different size. If you want a larger watch, then you better just choose a different one altogether, like the Yachtmaster 42 or something like that. But the GMT has always been 40, and it looks great at 40. And now it is a 40mm case, and that is from my index finger to my thumb at the 8 o'clock and 2 o'clock position, the longest distance across the bezel. This case is using a super case. It is a very thick case. It's the same case that they use in the Submariner. Actually, it's a little bit thicker than the Submariner. The Submariner comes out to be, and it has a little bit more tapered, but it is still a very thick case. It has very strong lugs, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It makes the watch look more masculine. Now, if you compare it to the Rolex Oyster cases or the Daytona cases, those look very streamlined and very thin in comparison. The GMT, on the other hand, has a very bulky, strong, and thick case, so it really is a matter of taste. It doesn't do anything functionally, it really is just aesthetic. So you'll see all these hard edges. It's not a smooth case, and you'll notice that it has a high polish on the sides of the case. Now let's look at the profile, and you'll see that the profile is a nice, comfortable 42mm. It's a high polish here, and on the top of the lugs, it has a satin finish. It's also quite nicely done. The case, of course, is made out of stainless steel. It is 904L steel, the hardest steel, best steel, and it allows it to maintain its strength and reliability, and so it can be polished many, many times in the event that you bang it or you scratch it. Now, I said this watch is yellow gold and steel at the very beginning. Now, which part is that yellow gold? Let's take a look at the bezel. The bezel is composed of 2 parts, that gold part which goes around the bezel insert, and then it has this insert. So the bezel is yellow gold. It sort of has these teeth at the end of it that you can turn. It allows your finger to find a little bit of grip, and that's all 18 karat yellow gold. Then it has a ceramic insert that doesn't scratch and maintains the same luster and beauty. It's impermeable to UV rays, and it will look this color basically for the rest of its life, and probably even yours and mine. And that's what's interesting about this bezel. Before, they just made it in a yellow gold and steel GMT, but they put it on an oyster bracelet that was discontinued. I don't know, like 5 or 7 years ago. But the bezel was all black. This bezel is actually 2 colors, gray at the bottom and black at the top. Rolex calls it a Cerachrom insert in ceramic. I just call it a ceramic bezel. And these numbers, 2468, these correspond to the hour. So if the long hand is at 2, that means 2 a.m. If the long hand is at 16, that means it's 4 p.m. And so on and so forth. As I said, you can tell time in a second's time zone. And the bezel actually has this gold here. This yellow color is not just painted yellow. It's actually gold baked into the ceramic insert. And I think it looks pretty awesome. That way And I think it looks really awesome that way. And that's the bezel. Now, what else can I say about this? It's actually bi-directional, but for the most part, you keep it right in the center and use it for the 24-hour hand to track the second time zone in whatever time zone you're looking at. And it's pretty easy to read. Anything past 3 o'clock, which corresponds with 6, until 18, which corresponds to 6 p.m., from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., that's all considered bright as working hours. And that's why they use gray instead of black to distinguish, okay? So if you're at this point, you can just easily look down at your watch and say, okay, where am I in terms of time in that second time zone? Like in Asia, are they working? Are they not working? Oh, you just look at the second hand. Now, similarly, anything above 18 is going to be nighttime. So that means 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and rightfully so, they put it black meaning night. So it makes sense. It makes sense why they didn't flip it and put gray on top and black on bottom. They put black on top because that corresponds with nighttime. It's smart. And that's how it's really easy to read. It seems so simple that you might think, well, of course, it should have always been done that. But when something is so simple that just makes sense, it's actually considered genius. So I would say that it is a genius idea to set it up like this, and it stood the test of time. It's been like this since the GMT has been out. I think it's been more than 50 years. I want to say 70 years. I don't know. It's been a long time, like 1960 something. Anyways, that is the bezel. Now let's move on to the dial. They only make this dial in one color. It's black, and you can see it is a very beautiful black. They don't make it in any color. I guess you can say that the hour markers are also quite nice. They're highly legible, chroma-light display. When you shine light on it, they actually turn blue, so it is luminescent in blue. The older ones I actually think are luminescent in green. I'm not quite sure, I have to check on that. But I think the old ones are luminescent in green, and the new luminescence is blue, which is a very nice touch. I also like that they used very simple shapes, the shapes that we have seen since we were kids. Circle, square, rectangle, these 3 basic shapes, so that you can tell whichever orientation the watch might be in on your hand, or you can always just read the time at night. Okay, and now let's move on to the bracelet. As I said, this watch is yellow gold and steel, and so that means the center links are made of yellow gold, and the side links are made of that stainless steel. Why would you want to do that? Well, Rolex also makes it in all yellow gold or all steel. Now that just depends on you. Now, why would you want to have a combination of it? Well, the benefit of having a combination is that you get the strength, luster of the steel, but you also have the nobility and beauty and exclusivity of having the gold. Combining the two harmoniously allow them to display the watch in this manner, and so you kind of get the best of both worlds. Now, if you get the all-gold watch, you gotta be very careful with it. It's all gold and it's quite loud. If you go for the all-steel, it doesn't have that same luster and nobility that the gold does, so mixing the two in a combination gets them into one watch and allows it for this to be this beautiful watch, as you can see right here. So I think it's a good combination. Now, Rolex only makes the Jubilee with two-tone, as in two-tone, 2 colors, steel and gold, yellow and gold. For the rose gold, they don't do that, as I told you in the beginning of the video, right? The Jubilee bracelet is 5-piece links across. If you want this in yellow gold on an oyster bracelet, we have to do that, by the way, on JazzTime.com. It's only on an Oyster bracelet though, so you have to get it on an Oyster bracelet, and it's an older version. It's discontinued. I think they stopped making it in like 2018, 19, something like that. I forgot, but something around there, you gotta get a used one. But we have them on jazztime.com, and so that's the bracelet. And now let's look at the clasp. What is nice about this clasp and about pretty much all Rolex clasps is that they're folding Oyster lock safety clasps. And that means there's two ways to open it. It doesn't easily pop open like a Datejust. You just have this folding safety lock. But then when you open it, you have this Easy Link 5mm comfort extension, which allows you to make the watch just a little bit bigger without having to use any tools. How much bigger? 5mm. Okay, and now let's move on to the movement. The movement is a 3285 caliber. It is an updated movement from the older one, which was a 3186. This one is a 3285. And what is better about it? It's that it has a longer power reserve and it's a little bit more precise, plus or minus 2 seconds a day. But other than that, you really can't see it, so does it really matter? In any case, let's try this thing on. So my wrist is 7.5 inches wide. I weigh 200 pounds. And as you can see, 40mm does not look too small on me. In fact, it looks just right, a perfect size. It's actually the size that all sports watches have been modeled after. 40mm has become the standard size for sports watch now because of Rolex. Because of the Submariner, the GMT, these iconic watches that are recognizable from anybody, not anybody, some people who at least like watches or knows about watches or has seen a watch. So it's a great watch, and as I said, I like steel and gold because it gives the two properties and it makes the watch just very wearable because of the steel, but very luxurious because of the gold. And the GMT is a very legible watch. It can be worn in many different situations. The Jubilee Bracelet makes it a little bit more dressy, and the Oyster makes it a little bit more sporty. So I like it because this watch is already a very sporty watch. Putting it on a Jubilee Bracelet makes it a little bit more dressy, so you might be able to get away with it on a more dressy type fashion. And so for that reason, oh, by the way, I really liked the bezel. I love that they didn't just put a straight black bezel, and I'm glad that they didn't do a funny color either, like blue or green or something. It would have just made it too weird, but just gray. It's very subtle, but it does have that second color to it. To me, it looks fantastic. I really like this watch, and if you like it, click on the link below and buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.